Yes, I have experienced that. And Mr. Jim, we are live, and let me make sure that we are sounding good. All right, I think that sounds okay. Turn that bad boy down a little bit. So, what's up, y'all? Uh, Today we have the pleasure of having Mr. Jim Frazier. As most of you that have watched my channel know, um, Greenville, when you just scratch the surface even just a little bit, you're going to find something really, really nasty. And Jim's been around the block and it's on your screen right there. He's number 13 on the most wanted list here. Congratulations, sir. Well, you made it past being number 13 on a city's like get him out of here list. It's really an accomplishment, actually. Let's read what the city had to say about him. Continues to mess up developers' land deeds. Enforcement is trying to find reason to put him in detention. It's right there.
Okay, well,
It's
give a
right
little
there.
background right now. My name is Jim Frazier, born 1960, and we've been born in Corvallis, Oregon. My daddy was retired from military, so we lived at different places, but we finally settled for good in Greenville in 1964 when he retired. We had been here before and left and come back. So I know a lot about Greenville because we've been here good since '64. So I know the area on Washington Street, Hudson, Mayberry, Birdie. We used to live on Lloyd Street, that right intersects that Washington and Pinckney and Hampton. We lived here from '64 to '72, I think, somewhere there. So I know the people and know the buildings, and so I know some of the people on this list, like Jack Sajon. He used to be a cop, and I know him personally. He's dead now. I know Mr. Brooks. Know his daddy. I know Ed Paxton. Osteen Fuel. I been in the Army Navy store. Even though we're not real close, I talk to him and do business with him occasionally. Mitchell Stero, I don't know him, but I know the case. I know the case real good. I know everything about that case. Everything. Every paper. I got every paper about the Mitchell case. Right till the end when the little girl cries and when they're settling. But City Wrecker, I don't really understand. I think they talk about when Bobby Rogers had it, but Hills Record Service is using it now. They using that name. So I don't think it's aimed at Hills. It might have been Bobby Rogers. But I know Brooks, Tony Brooks, Trucking Equipment. I stayed down there after I got hurt. I stayed at Brooks Trucking Equipment. And I knowed his father, met him, knowed his wife, and everybody knows Mike Williman, collision repair. He's been here forever, and
So what ties everybody together on this list? What
they all I guess let's see. I guess they all in the city. I guess I didn't think about that until you just said it. Yeah, they all in the
Because when
city.
I've got the map of Greenville up right now, and it
City Ricker ended up being where QT is on Rutherford, right there by Smith and Charles when Bobby Rogers had it. So I think he had it when this was. I don't think it was the Hills, but I might be wrong.
it wasn't, and in fact the sale was just recent within the last 5 or 6 years. Um, uh, I met the grandson of Willimans. I've met two separate people on this list, City Wrecker and Willimans, uh, will say randomly. I walked up to this dude's house. I said, I like the flag you're flying. Let me tell you what I'm doing. And he goes, hold on. And he said, "Come here." And this guy comes out and he goes, "That's his grandson." I said, "What's up, dude? I have this piece of paper. This stuff is being said." And he goes, "Didn't I see you at the shop today?" I was like, "Yeah." And so, city record guy met him at Waffle House.
Right.
And so these families, everybody was like, "Yo, can I take this to my mom?" Like everybody wanted their grandmother or their mother to see, like, yes, it's
But
real. These people suck.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but who owned City Record when this paper was? Didn't Bobby Rogers own it? He took it. Don's spouse used to have it, and then I went down there and Bobby Rogers had it when I was talking to him. When this paper was printed up, was it meant for the Hills or Bobby Rogers?
I don't know, but I know where we can find out.
Because they was using the name after Bobby Rogers went out or died. So it's about this time when he passed away somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's something you need to realize right there. Because I talked to Bobby Rogers. I went down there about a car being towed in, and I just casually talked to him, maybe about other things. But that's one thing we need to check right there. Because But yes, I know a good many of these people. The liquor stores, I don't do no business. I don't drink, so I wouldn't really know the people at the liquor stores. But these other people seem to be people I know.
So why were you on the list?
Well, I was working with developers. They called me up to do a job at the old Brandon Pipe company that made concrete pipes, different sizes. They'd been there since 1933 at that location, I think. But have been in the business since that long, one or two. And they called me up to do a job at the Brandon Yard and the Smith Drake Warehouse across the street. There's Wakefield Street that separates the Brandon Yard and the Smith Drake. And behind the Smith Drake is Anderson Auto Parts. In front is Academy Street, I believe.
Okay, so here we go. I've got Academy here and Falls Park. How close am I?
Academy. It's right at that. Let's see, Osteen's Field.
Osteen's is right
Other
here.
words, I can talk to Osteen from the Brandon Yard just about.
Great.
He was our neighbor.
Here's Osteen right here.
Yeah, we're just that little street. There used to be a street behind Osteen. They did away with it with the church.
Oh, okay, so check this out. You want to
black
see it? Watch this. Please still do it. Oh, no, it didn't do it. Wait. This thing messes up, or used to mess up, so that you could see the old church.
Yeah, the old black church.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm not going to be able to do it, but...
But it was there.
Yeah, for
There
sure.
was a street behind it.
Oh, now I don't
You
even know where I'm
separate
going.
the church from the Osteens, you could take that street with a car. And
Okay.
So I met Mr. Osteen. Well, everybody knows Mr. Osteen. They was in the moving trucking business, and he had that wooden coal yard. Everybody knowed Osteen. I mean, he was just even if you don't know him, you know him because he's on that corner.
Right.
So, and he's such a nice man.
And Mr. Osteen...
He's so warm-hearted. I believe he'd give
He's very
the girls
nice.
back. So I got to be his friend. I'd probably been there before, but I didn't have the bond that we had when we started seeing him every day or two. Sometimes he'd ride his bike. And one day he told me, he said, "Are you the only one that's doing a job down here?" Because I was the only one there. And that's the church.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. And so we're right behind the church, which the church is behind Osteen. We're right behind the church. And so I got to know him pretty good, and I liked him. And he's got a good business. He got a good customer base at that time. And so I was doing a job there and on the salvage. Any of the work I did, I got the salvage for it. And so I wasn't being paid by money, and so I was supposed to get the 2 concrete plants and all the buildings, and I had to get do things. They had an oil spill out there, and I just happened along after it happened one weekend. It was about 1,000-gallon drum, but I can't tell you how much was in it, but it was a good bit, and I cleaned it up. They didn't want me to tell nobody, and I put it in approved drums with a locked lid. I did it by the book. I dug every bit of up. I didn't leave one drop. I did that. They wanted to keep that secret.
What year was this?
I put it in drums, and it was left on the site. So whatever they did with it, I don't know.
What year was this?
When I was just before I got arrested on this. This is March 20th, 2003. So this happened just before that. Yeah, I was there on that job about 6 months. So it happened 3 or 4 months before this. So this paper that Knox White targeted me, Jim Frazier, right here. I might want to say something.
Go ahead.
Knox White, you got your name on here. You targeted Jim Frazier, but I want to know who you targeted. I'm like the phoenix bird, the Greek myth, that when a phoenix dies, he burns up, and from his ashes, a new phoenix appears. So you burnt me, and you caused me to go to jail, Mr. White. You and the developers, you caused me to go to jail on that phony gun charge, and I got burnt for all that time in the federal penitentiary, and then you poor-mouthed me and hurt me on the job market and everything, and tell people lies about me, you and your crew. But I'm the new phoenix, so you'll have to burn me again. I ain't going nowhere. I'll be everywhere you at. I'll hand out papers from here to hell. And you want to be like that Russian President Putin. You want to stay in power forever. You're just like him. And that's a dirty trick. After you printed this paper, 2 or 3 days later, I get arrested. Why don't you meet me in the town loop at high noon, like they used to do in the West? If you don't like somebody, meet me, you and the developers, because you wouldn't do it by yourself. You two, you have to have people working together as a team. You can't do nothing else. But meet me or your group in the town loop, and let's do it like men in Dodge City. We'll just hit elbows and fists. And
How did they do it back in the day? How did they get you? I mean, obviously, the piece of paper says that they are going to enforcement is trying to find reason to put him in detention. How they get it done?
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. Should I tell about the chemicals and all that? Just go ahead and tell this, and then I'll back up on the chemicals.
Go ahead and tell what you feel.
Okay, well, let's see, because I'm not rehearsed. I want everybody to know that I've written all this stuff going down the road. So this is not rehearsed. So I put stuff in different places because I would think about something and forget it. So it's all mixed up, but it's all true. And so it's not rehearsed. It's not typed up. I did this in the last couple of days, and I'm not going to my records because these are records that I'm making up going down the road. My real records, I have not located them yet. And then I had to go to SLED to get some for my lawyer. And so I have to write a lot of stuff out of my memory. But we'll get to the arrest if you want to. Then I'll back up what caused it or whatever. I see. Well, maybe I ought to get to the Smith Drake warehouse. Okay, after I did the Smith Drake warehouse. After I did the brand new pipe job, they moved me across the street, and so I wasn't done at the pipe yard. This warehouse was priority because of asbestos. The chemicals in it, and he figured that I could help him with them chemicals. And So
Where's this warehouse located?
it's on Wakefield Street across from Brand New Pipe.
Um,
Okay, so,
Mayberry.
uh, well, no, it's one street, uh, no, it's not on that street. It's, behind Anderson Auto Parts. Mayberry and Hudson comes together, so it's one street over. It's, the one street over, uh, in front of Academy. Academy is right in front of it. Wakefield, you can see Academy, Wakefield is behind there. There used to be a lumber yard there. On that street, Wakefield, where the old railroad used to be, Greenville, Northern or something. Okay,
Would it be Anderson Ford Parts Center or Anderson Tire and Brakes?
it'd be Anderson Auto Parts, Napa.
Oh, Napa. Okay, Napa, Anderson, Maine.
Okay, so behind, the Van Anderson owned that property. It was 5 acres, and he paid $5 million for it. He paid Van Anderson allegedly $5 million is what they tell me now. That's what I'm hearing, and so they said, Jim, we need to get you across the street so you can get on that Smith Drake warehouse behind Anderson Auto Parts because. We're going to have, we got some chemicals there. We got to do something about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have people do abatement and them guys with the white suits and stuff. DHEC might be involved, I don't know. But he said, can you get rid of them chemicals? And I said, well, I'll try it. I got on that phone and tried I don't know who I called. I guess the only people I didn't call was God. But I called everybody and I found somebody would take them chemicals. Well, he was trying to get rid of them chemicals too. He was undermining me. He was trying to not tell me what he's doing.
Okay.
Because I said, well, if I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Okay. But sitting behind a desk, a phone, calling, I'd rather be working.
Right.
I called everybody. Well, I found somebody that would take the chemicals. Some of these chemicals had a name that long, and you couldn't spell it or pronounce it. I've never seen words that long. And so they was long as words. And so I found a company on White Horse Road that I don't have their name, but they're over there by the old Crown Ford truck place at the corner. And Speaks is on the other, right near there. Right, and they had a chemical company, and they had another company within a company. Now I ain't for sure about the name, but I think it was Maggot or something, but I ain't for sure. And but they would take them chemicals and said they'd probably pay for some of them. And I told them, I said, well, you can have them. We don't need no money because they was new chemicals. And so I told Chris about it, and he said, good, but all the other chemicals in the 55-gallon drums was gone. I don't know how many it was, but it was enough to, wow, a big truckload of 55-gallon drums. So I don't know if he dumped them in the river next to the building or he hauled them somewhere else and dumped them. That is the mystery that I'll never know. But on all the chemicals I got rid of or I got this man that would take him. But whether he took them or not, that's the time we fell out. We fell out before the deal was made through. And I told him, just take them, but we didn't want no money. So we fell out right then about some business that I was doing with him. Fell out because of the warehouse. I owned the warehouse half. At that time, I owned half the warehouse, not the land, just the building. And so a man come up and offered me $10,000 for my half the wood, which was very below. They was worth more than $10,000. But so he got money in his eye, and that's when we started having trouble. He didn't realize how much the wood was worth, and I did. I know. I called everybody in the country. It took me, I don't know, a few months. and I hit pay dirt, and I'd say it was on my side of the warehouse there was 18,000, 15 to 18,000 worth of wood. 10,000 is a very low price for what the type of wood was in there. Oh, it was and I brought a man in there, and he said, "Wow, this is what I want." Some big giant beams, I mean big, and tongue and groove, big thick floor, 3-inch something. But so that's what we fell out about. He wanted to take back everything I worked so hard for 6 months. He wanted to take back what I did at the pipe company. Well, anyway, took my concrete plants back and everything. And so anyway, so that's where we split up. So I suspect that I had words with him, but he never did tell me what happened to the chemicals. So anyway.
What makes you suspicious about where those chemicals are?
Well, see, there's a river right side it, so you could roll one of them drums they row. So you could roll it right there and dump it, and then take the drums and pin them back in the pickup and haul them off. So that way you wouldn't have to load them. You could roll them. See, so I think he threw them in the river and didn't load the empty drum, but I don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was concerned about it because I just don't like chemicals, you know. To jump a little bit, I'm going to jump to the future and then jump back. The Payton warehouse, the Swamp Rabbit Fitness with William Timmons, they checked that soil before I was on that job too, when they was buying the property for the Brookses, and they drilled in there and said there was chemicals contaminated behind the Swamp Rabbit Fitness, which is used to be Payton Street. It's Delano or something now. And
Right here.
yes, and William Timmons said, see, Brooks told me everything, and I also heard him talking. And he said, well, I'm going to clean up in the future. Well, they got people that's walking down that trail every day. They might sit there on that ground, tie their shoelace or eat a lunch on that ground. And they might be like them people down in Alabama that was getting all that cancer in the neighborhood. They couldn't figure out why all these people was getting cancer. After probably several decades, they found there was a warehouse that had some stuff in there stored. It might be chemicals or something to do with the government, maybe chemical weapons, I don't know. But it was chemicals, and that was what caused them people to get cancer. So if that property behind Swamp Rabbit's Fitness has got chemicals soaked in it, they need to dig it out and replace it with earth.
The Reedy River's right there, and you do have a Timmons law firm right there. There's your Delano Street.
Well, there's Delano, Delano Drive, but it was Payton Street when I was around there. They changed it. But there's a Seven-Side Brewery there now. Seven-Side Brewery, Swamp Rabbit Fitness, and it's got the Delano, or however you pronounce it, on the building. So I'm hoping that he did the right thing if the earth was contaminated, which Brooks said it was.
So this is what we're looking at right here, where Timmons Law is, and where Swamp Rabbit CrossFit is, and there's a Swamp Rabbit Trail in the Reedy River that goes downtown. This used to be Brooks's on here. It says Brooks Trucking and Equipment.
Yeah, I actually lived down there for a long time. After I got hurt, I recuperated there. So I know everything that goes on.
Right outside downtown.
And that's when the law come out one time. There was a railroad track. I'm going to tie this in with a chemical company. That Swamp Rabbit Fitness, I think, was a chemical company. And there was a side track that came off that main line to that building. Okay, so I don't know if box cars or chemicals come in or tanker come in. And when you taking stuff out of the tanker, it might leak. We don't know why it's contaminated. Maybe they just emptied the old containers back there that had a little bit of them. We'd never know. But it needs to be checked by somebody and see if it is contaminated.
Right.
Okay, I helped take that track up, the railroad track, side the building, and the law come up to check me out, and said, yeah, you're okay, and he drove off. That was the county, that worked at the line, the motorcycle cop. He said, I told him why I was taking it up, and he was satisfied. Then the Greenville police come up, and they wanted to get real brutal and fight with me. And I told him I was not stopped until we get this track up, and then I would stop, because if somebody falls on it, laying there, they would sue us, or somebody might steal it if we don't finish it. And then, but I'd stop taking it up after I got that loaded. And so he asked me, he asked all my workers that were black to see their ID. He didn't want to see no white people's ID. Well, William Timmons come walking down the the jogging trail, and said, yes, I know these guys. The track's got to come up. You know, it was an unsightly mess. The track was actually broke loose and twisted a little bit. And so a child or somebody could be playing, getting hurt. So it had to come up. I went to the railroad about it, and both railroads, but it didn't belong to the railroad. It never did. It belonged to the people at the warehouse. The railroad said, well, let's send somebody out and take it up, but they're going to charge us. They didn't pay no taxes on it. So I tried to tell the cop that. Well, William Timmons is in the middle of this argument, and I asked Greenville policeman, I says, do you know me? He said, no, am I supposed to? And all these people are building up on the Swamp Rabbit Fitness watching this argument. It does get pretty hot there. And so I said, well, do you know me? I thought that he might know me because there's a woman cop that checks on me. Miss Boyd used to come down and check on me. And she was a Greenville police woman. She'd make sure I'm okay. Her and me was pretty good friends. And she would check on me and come to see me and stuff like that. And so I figured he must know me because of Miss Boyd. And she's a black woman cop. But he said he didn't. So Timmons is on the trail, and I said, well, why did you ask to see the black people's ID and not the white people? He said, because I just wanted to. And I said, well, so Timmons is not doing anything to show who he is. He's saying, yes, I'm William Timmons, I'm fixing to buy the property, I paid to clean it up and survey it, we're fixing to close on it. He didn't say, why did you not ask to see the white people's ID instead of just the black people? But he was not a champion for the people, a champion for white, brown, red, yellow. He was a champion of the rich himself. Okay,
yeah.
He was not a champion, and he's a politician. So politicians were supposed to be for people. The only one that was a champion of it happened to be the black people was me. And I later heard, if nobody was there, this is what my source with the law enforcement said, if there's nobody there, he would have shot me. And it would have been something in my hand. That's coming from law enforcement. And his partner knew that I was right. That's why he kept his mouth shut. When it comes to the railroad laws, they always come to me. Anything to do with the railroad. And I'm like a father or son with the railroad. When I call them up, I used to work on their equipment. And I've had trouble over right-of-ways before, and I always win. And because all you have to do is read the books. And so the law enforcement at that time didn't know nothing about the right-of-ways. So that's what I'm saying. They didn't know nothing about it. He had a shaved head, and the way he carried himself, I thought he might have been a white supremacist because he only wanted to see the black people's ID, not the white. He didn't know nothing about me. Okay, and I could have been on a wanted list. Okay, which I'm not. But so I feel bad for the black people because they so humble, and I know them so long. One of them worked for Brooks, the man that owned the property, and his son was their grandson. They were so humble, and so I said, I'm gonna do something for them. So I called the police department and said, would you give apology or come out or something and talk to the Brooks and the driver he said, we're not gonna give no apology to nobody for nothing. And that was it. I mean, I said, wow.
Yeah.
I said, these are tough guys, because they got a badge and gun.
Right.
Okay. So I was shocked. I mean, and I told William about it. I said, I'm sorry, but they're not going to give no apology. And so I asked whoever was on the phone, somebody of authority. I'd have to have my original notes.
Mm-hmm.
I said, is he a white supremacist? He got a shaved head and he's only wanting to see. He didn't know how to take that, whoever answered the phone here in that department. So anyway.
Did you have any friends in local government? Any friends in police department, the fire department? Anybody that you could trust?
Myself?
Yeah.
Well, I had Miss Boyd, the uniform patrol. I had her until we stopped seeing each other and fell out. Or, it's a long story. I'm not going to go into that so proper. But I stopped seeing her, and she'd come and see me, and she was a real nice person until we fell out, and that was it. And but I don't have no friends close in law enforcement other than that time with Miss Boyd. I know them when I see them, but I don't know them by name. I see them at QT, the sheriff department. I don't really know them, but they know me. And William Timmons, I know him because of that deal. So he's a politician. So I know him. Okay.
He's still alive.
Huh?
William Timmons is still alive.
Yeah, he was. And by the way, from what I've seen in his politics and the way I've read in the paper and what I've seen on TV, about the way he behaved on the jogging trail, I can expect him not to be a very successful politician. I mean, he was, but he didn't handle that real good. But I have no friends with the fire department, or if there's somebody I know, I just can't remember. But I know a lot of people by just looking at them and not by name. And but I don't have nobody I know right off the bat.
That can't be him.
But Tim Brett used to be a politician, I think, or something. He used to be.
He was.
I know him. But what I'm saying is he.
Is this him?
No, that's William Timmons.
Yeah, he's the. He entered Congress in 2019.
Well, from the way I seen him handle the argument with the railroad track, he was a poor businessman. If he had any push, he'd say, "Look, I'm William Timmons," and tell him who he was, and the cop would have got back in the car. But he was scared to make any waves, I guess. I wouldn't want him representing me as a lawyer, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he was just young and he didn't know how to handle something like this. But the way he talks about the land deals, the money he's made, he should be a pretty good businessman, know how to talk to the law. And so anyway, getting back, I'm moving back now to Smith Strait, where the Brooks deal was, that's all I can say at that time. When they had this list with Brooks on it, his daddy made a statement. He said that motorcycle was going to be the death of Tony Brooks, is what I heard somebody say. But I really believe, because I think he was scared the cars would hit him. But after this list, I think he was scared to drive his motorcycle like he was on the hit list right here of the targets, but my lawyer calls it a hit list, but it's a target list. They're going to target for different reasons. Because I guess you own properties. I guess most of these people has got properties, all but me. I know I don't have no property. So anyway, he, when this was printed up, 2003, see, and, so I think he was scared that he would get run over with that motorcycle after this list that T.S. Brooks, I think that's his daddy's name, that owned the office equipment. I think that he was saying he was worried that a car would hit him. But Tony, I think, was probably thinking that they might run me over because it says right here that it says right here that Brooks Trucking Equipment. No wait, Brooks Office Equipment. This property, this business operates near our equipment yard. Is very valuable to city planners. Okay. Program. Brooks Trucking Equipment, same reason as number 8 above. Also need to give his company name and number to transportation police. Now that's, I know who they are because I know a transportation policeman. I've fixed trucks that they written up, the big trucks that was written up. I had to fix some of their write-ups before they could go on back on the road. So I know one of them by name particularly. But anyway, so that's who that is. The transportation police is the one that tries to with commercial vehicles and big vehicles, and so that's who that is. So if they there's one of them transport police. I can't give you his name. I don't want to give you his name. He was trained as a drug cop. So it says right here, Tony rides in a motorcycle club. Drugs may be involved. So it's strange that it says give his number to the transportation police, and if one of them is trained as a drug cop, I know his name and know him. Okay, mostly know him over the phone. I don't think I've ever met him, but I talked to him over the phone. At the times I've been down there, he was never there. But so when they said he drives in the motorcycle club, drugs may be involved, I put them two together. Transportation police, because one of them guys is trained as a drug. See, so I know that for a fact because I drove a tractor trailer, and that's how I ended up meeting them transportation, talking to them and stuff. But so he's got property, and they wanted that property. And Tony told me for many years they wanted to buy it, and so I told Tony that you need to stop talking to them, and if they want to buy it, they'll buy it. And but he kept on talking to them. It dragged out, and they wanted him to get it appraised and stuff like that. And finally, William Timmons bought it, and so
William Timmons,
he's now a politician.
congressional congressman. Well, excuse me. Whoops. I think I need a.
But okay, so now we're going to lead to the arrest.
Okay.
If you want me to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There was, I got a notebook here of all types of stuff that was going on at Brandon Pike, Smith Drake, Brooks. I got notes, but these are not the original files. But I'm not going to say everything. Just I'm hitting the high spots. But anyway, fires started happening when we fell out. Fires started happening about the time we fell out. I can't give you the exact date. It could be before or after. I can't remember. I think it was after, but it was a time when I was up there. And anyway, I thought it was strange because I'm familiar with these buildings. Brooks, I got trailers parked out there. And I said, who would burn a masonry building? Well, anyway, I was going to a place they called my office. It was on Willard Street one day. It was just a house, and I'm trying to remember the number of it. It might have been 209, but I can't remember. But we used to call at my office because I, stop by, and sometimes I'd give that number for phone calls, and the person there would answer them for me. And so I was on the way to the Wheeler Street, and anyway, I noticed a fire hose, and it was going down to Brooks, where I got equipment, trailers parked. And anyway, I asked the policeman about it, and he says, I said, I got stuff parked down there. He said, let me take you down there. So he took me down there, and I seen that it was on fire. I said, and I just couldn't imagine, Brooks being on fire, being a masonry building, and concrete floor. And I said, maybe it was electrical or something up in the roof or something, And well, that was the first fire. I'm not for sure if that was the first fire or not. Now, I think it was, but I don't know. I don't know the secrets of the fires now. I did back then.
Yeah, and I'm just dying. I'm like, I have this fire info right here, right now, but I just don't. Maybe it was a different thing.
But by the way, William Timmons said that Tony Brooks burned it, which I don't buy that because his reason was because the daddy and the son would not jointly sell their property together, so the son was going to split that up and make him do it that way, but I don't buy that. I mean, that's, I'd like to know the secrets of which one burnt on the row, and I didn't know it, but there was another one that burnt that you told me about.
Yeah, and I'm trying
all
to figure
I know
out
was
where
Brooks Service Machine Shop on Hudson Street, Brooks on Mayberry, and Wakefield Street, Smith Drake Warehouse. Now, I know them buildings. I was in the outside of Brooks's building a number of times. I'd never been inside until somebody broke in one night while I was staying there. And I never been.
And so, just so we know that Greenville this is your main downtown right here, right. Greenville. Now, when we started this whole thing, 2003, this was not here. Mitchell's Stereo, the very first douche on the list, was here. And Bob Hughes, one of the names on the list that he got this memo, he owned the other side of where Mitchell's was. So when Bob Hughes, who is the developer of everything you see here, essentially, when he demolished his side, he simply nudged the wall at Mitchell's, and since you can see this guy right here, Larry Godfrey, was the fire marshal. Fire marshal just goes in there and condemns the building.
Right.
And so that was right in the middle of downtown. Okay, so now let's move out of downtown a little bit as development spreads from downtown.
Right.
You see this. Where are you, bud? Sorry. This is there. That's there. Boom. We talked about Osteen's earlier. What you see right here is a Croc Center, a school, all that business. But when you look at what it was, this is what it was.
Yeah.
This is Osteen's, and it was just all of this. And now there's tons of housing back there that you can't see. A lot of it or all of it black owned.
Well, yes, the pipe company was the biggest empty open plain of property where the school is. It was an open plain, nothing but concrete pipe there. And they had a machine making them. So that was a valuable piece to somebody for something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There were some people that come up and talked to me about the property that was serious about buying it. It was a man, and I guess developers seen something there, but they wanted to get the lumber yard, which I guess they did. I never got to start the lumber yard.
Well, they saw all of this: the Croc Center,
Yeah,
the
all
soccer
that was
field, AJ
that was the pipe
Wittenberg.
company.
Yeah.
All that's the pipe company right there. I worked there for about 6 months, and then uh, across the street is the it would be across the street is Wakefield Street right in front of her, and Smith Direct Warehouse is right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, getting back to the buildings, so another building burns. Now I don't know the secrets in them. The secrets, I can't know which one burned, but another masonry building burns, but you can only burn the roof. Okay, I thought that was strange. Okay, and then the Black Shrine, it's an old school and they use in the back for a shrine. I don't know if the other part's being used or not, but it used to be a school, and I think it's off Bernie Street. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it might be developed now. It might not be here no more. Okay, so it
We've got the
burns.
Elks Lodge. We got Bernie Street right here.
Yep, the Black Shrine burns, and I don't really know what that building's made out of. If it's an old school, it might have burnable stuff, but these other buildings we're talking about, Brooks's and Service Machine Shop,
All
the
over
only
here.
thing that can burn is the roof. Well, so I thought that was strange. Another building with the roof. Well, we know the power's probably cut off at the Service Machine Shop because it's empty. So that leaves the warehouse that Service Machine Shop's on Hudson Street. Okay, so it's Mayberry and Hudson join, so you get on Hudson to go to Brooks. So them two buildings are a rock throw from each other. They're a rock throw. Okay,
Right.
so I own the Smith Drake building, or half of it. I'm fixing to own the other half, the way it's working. But right now I only own half of that warehouse building, the structure. Okay, so the arsonist does not burn that building they took back from me. Now, the wood, everything on that ground belongs to me on half of it.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't took the ownership of the other half yet. Chris Stiles owns the other half.
Now, is it this building right here that we're looking at on Hudson and Mayberry?
The school you mean?
No, on Hudson and Mayberry.
Hudson, okay, that on Hudson Mayberry, there used to be a city equipment office there, and they tore it down.
Okay. Yes,
cops
got it.
used to fill up their cars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so the Smith Drake warehouse is a wood warehouse that I own part of, and it's got a lot of wood in it. And now, why wouldn't arsonists burn my building? My building, if you set on fire, it'd be a heck of a campfire. It had big beams in there, some of the biggest wood left in the city of Greenville. These beams are so big, oh boy, they paradise. I mean, but anyway, I said, why wouldn't arsonists burn my building? And I said, well, wait a minute. He's not an arsonist.
Mhm.
He's a developer. Because he owns that building. Mr. Brett and Chris Stiles. That's why they didn't burn that building. They owned it.
They own
had
it.
chemicals in it. I don't know what type of chemicals it had in it, but the firemen looked at it and they said, let's get out of here. They start running away from these chemicals. Now, some of these chemicals, it's got a shelf life. They've had I heard that some of these places that got chemicals, like these schools, like their science lab, they have to call the fire department if they get old to remove them, because they could do something. Like
Right.
So when they seen what was these bottles on these canisters, they moved quick and got out.
They're like, I'm out of here.
And they had a emergency cleanup. Now these the ones that's left that he did not dump.
Uh-huh.
These are the ones that I had, the company on White Horse Road was gonna come get possibly.
Yeah.
But they did a emergency cleanup in the middle of the night to get these.
Mhm.
I seen him when they come out and he just dropped it in the case and said, get out of here. And, well, anyway, so I said, that's strange. Then we got the black brine that burns. Now, I don't know much about that building, I don't know, but, what the structure is exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it burns. I thought that was strange too, but,
So what was what was Brett's role, Tim Brett's role in this whole thing? Because he is,
he
is,
was supposed to be the money man. He was supposed to have these people, and he was the boss of the job. In other words, my boss was Chris Stiles. His boss was Tim Brett. Now, Chris Stiles had a partner named Stone, but he never dealt with me. He kept his quiet.
Mhm.
The only ones I ever talked to was I met was Tim Brett and Chris Stiles.
Mhm.
And so that's the only ones I
But
did with.
in this group of the 2003 memo, what did Tim Brett have to do with the mayor, the developer? I mean, even Ron Cobb, like, so that everybody sees what Ron Cobb did. Oh, do I still have it up? Yeah, here we go. Let's get some Ron Cobb up here. Some lost trust.
He was in that state house thing where he was getting buying illegal drugs for the representatives, the different politicians.
Right. So that's from 89 to 99. So this is, yeah, 89 to 99 was the Lost Trust saga.
Yeah.
And they got him for, Cobb recruited Representatives Robert A. Cohn and Luther Taylor to help in securing legislative votes. He was arrested April 1989 for trying to buy a kilo of cocaine in a deal orchestrated by the FBI. So this is Ron Cobb that we're talking about that is on this
Paper.
memo
Yeah.
from
I did
from
talk
Knox White.
Right.
And a sordid little past. Who would trust this guy? I mean,
Well-
cheese and crackers
well,
are turned on everybody.
Now, some of the stuff I got secondhand information, some of it's firsthand. Now, on the Swat Wabbit Fitness chemicals, that's firsthand. But this Ron Cobb deal, I got a piece of information about him. Now, he told my friend that when he turned state's evidence on his friends that I got the money back for the drugs, and they even paid me too. And but anyway, he died. I talked to him before I went to jail on a gun charge because of this development. This is what brought me here to the jail. And we talked a little while about some things, and so there was nothing significant. But I heard that him and Gerald Seals, now I don't know this firsthand, and him and Gerald Seals put down $20,000 on the old radio station property and paid the taxes for a few years until they could possibly, I guess, get that property at Brooks. But it never happened, so I guess that deal didn't go through, I guess. So I said if that's true, that would have been a good reason to burn Brooks's building, to get them to sell it.
Well, when you look at all the fires, and I do wish I had the time, but the timeline will come. Well, what you don't see here in this picture, this recent Google Maps picture, all of this is gone. All of this
Yeah, I
right
think where
here
the black swine
is
was,
is
is
quote unquote Unity Park. When you look at who is on this list, you've got Osteen's right here. One of the other liquor stores is right here, but we'll just say who's still here. Osteen is here. The liquor store that if you close it, blacks will move from the area. That is right over here. And then the fires are here.
Exactly.
It's all in the path of
Well,
development that they said right here. I mean, this is so ridiculous. Originally conceived by Tommy Weiss in the 1980s, River Place was announced in November 2003. November 2003. Now check out what he says at the very end. Um, the legal struggle over the properties owned by Janet Surratt, Billy Mitchell, and Vern Cassidy eventually cost the city 5.4 million. The first phase of the project consisted of about 720,000 square feet in red brick. Oh wait, where is what I wanted? Maybe I just missed it. Oh, there it is. It was River Place was built on about 10 acres of vacant land across from the Peace Center and Huguenot Mill, but would face on Main Street and thus include properties that the city planned to take through eminent domain.
right.
So the whole pomp and circumstance
Well,
about hitting the wall and everything like that,
well,
it was
see,
designed prior to.
this is not my first rodeo. I was involved with the deal at Goodlet's Junkyard across from the city equipment yard on Mayberry Street.
Hmm.
And I had some trouble with the right of way over there too, where they want to take my crane. But so I know that when they want to get property, I heard that when they took the Goodlet property, that they gave it part of it to the black church after they took it. I think they needed a runoff for water or something. I don't really know, but they gave that allegedly to them, maybe, and paid him for the rest of it. But he had to take them to court, and so I seem to always be involved with some development, not by choice. It just happens that way. But I want to say one thing. When I got arrested, because of this paper here, because I was interfering with the developer's land deed. I did talk to a few people, but I got a right to, if they ask my opinion. I talked to Walt Frazier before about some things a couple times, and I've talked to other people too. I've talked to several people, and if they ask my opinion, I ought to be able to give my opinion about somebody's character, if I trust them or whatever. So I figured that's why they put my name on there. That I was telling people stuff that would hurt them and stuff like that. But I actually, according to SLED, I'm going to get to this before I forget it, and then I can get back to me being arrested. But when I get arrested, I just want to, they kept on asking me if I remember anything about what was going on over there. Well, with all them guns they had pointing on me, I'll tell you what, and they had all this, I've never seen that many people arrest somebody. And they actually arrested me and touched me and grabbed me with my vehicle rolling down the road. They opened the door and my hands come out to the ground and I was partially in the truck, and the tailgate was either missing or I took it off or it was hanging down, and a quick thinker got a 4x4 block and stopped it from rolling, which it could have rolled over somebody or me. And that's how scared I guess they was of me. But I found out later from the law enforcement, once they realized I was not the man they was hunting, that they said if he goes for anything, shoot him outright. And that's what the SLED and law enforcement told me. And so anyway,
Will you explain what SLED is? I don't know that everybody knows what SLED is.
South Carolina Law Enforcement Division.
So they police the police?
Yeah, but they had all agencies there. They had the fire department, Larry Godfrey, and federal, SLED, police department, sheriff department. Everybody was there because Larry Godfrey pumped their heads that I was the one. Because he's got to, because he works for the developer, so he's just doing his job.
And again, Larry Godfrey on this piece of paper. That is the fire marshal at that
that's
time,
Larry Godfrey,
and the developer being Bob Hughes.
And I asked the federal man that was there, and I asked the federal men, see, some people say that he was there because they consider that a hate crime in a black neighborhood.
Hmm.
That ain't why he was there.
Mm-hmm.
He was there because the state couldn't arrest me for the gun that I had at home because they gave it back to me. So they called, because against state law, I can have that gun, but not federal law. But they didn't tell me that when they gave me the gun back.
Mm-hmm.
So the federal had to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So that they called him. So he arrested me, and I noticed something suspicious because I said, "Hey, would you drive my truck to my office?" They call it my office. It's not my office. It's just the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's a person that answers calls, and I go over to eat and do my paperwork. And he drove that truck over there. I'm being arrested. They don't normally do that. They normally call record man. So that was the cat out of the bag. When he drove my truck to the office and left the keys with him, oh wow, they really must have needed my help bad for something to plead guilty or help them out with a case or whatever. So anyway, I was nervous and upset. Couldn't remember a lot of stuff because of what happened.
Yeah.
And anyway, they took me to Anderson, the federal holding site in Anderson, because they didn't have a federal holding site in Greenville. And they said, "Do you remember anything?" I said, "I'm trying to remember." And they kept on coming to visit me and seeing me, and they eventually let me out. I took a lie detector, and they let me out, and I realized I wasn't an arsonist. I proved I wasn't an arsonist without the lie detector.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and this woman kept on asking me and she met me at the house when I got out and asked me that same question. And this is what solved who burnt the buildings in Greenville. Even though the law, they probably want the credit, but they don't want nobody to know about it because it makes the law look bad because the people that burnt the buildings is tied in with the people that told them it was me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives a bad name to SLED and other law enforcement. Mm-hmm. But I did remember something. Chris Stiles had his equipment at Brand Pipe. He had a nice big Caterpillar loader. It was nice, and a trailer and a dump truck, KW dump truck. It was nice in his day, but it was older. But the loader was really good, and he put his equipment up and told some people. And now that he cheated me out of my money and called the law on me to get off the site. He had to put his equipment up every night because he was telling people that I'd burn it or I'd tear it up, destroy it. Okay, I've left an important piece out, but wait a minute, I'll give you that piece later and finish this. I lost a piece. Wait. Remember the Jones. Okay. And so he would never leave his equipment out, is what I was told. And I didn't go to buy there. And only if I had to go to the post office or something, and I looked over that way. But I tried not to go around there because they would try to hurt me. But he did. He kept. Okay, when the buildings started burning around there, he started leaving his equipment back out. And I said, wait a minute. He's telling everybody, he's saying that he's worried for his equipment is going to get burned. Now he's saying I burnt that building and he's leaving his truck back out where the buildings are burning. I said, wait a minute. He knows who burnt the buildings.
Because he didn't need to worry about.
So he knows the police is going to give heavy patrol, and they're going to do a lot of extra patrolling, more manpower, so he'd be safe. But he knows it's not me, so and he's killing two birds with one stone, so to speak. I guess he's getting me in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and he's getting these buildings burned. Because if he burns, the only thing he can burn on the building is the roof. So if they do own them, there won't be much to haul away on wood, roofing, or the city will make them tear it down if the roof gets burned, if you don't fix it possibly.
Hmm.
And, so if they do buy it, they get it below what it's worth.
Way below.
Yeah, and, or if he burns this building, even if this man don't want it, this one over here might sell it because he's scared of that one, even though he's got it figured 2 or 3 ways. And,
Yeah.
so law enforcement asked him, said, you said Jim burnt them buildings and you picked your equipment up before them buildings burned because you were scared either. He said, well, why did you start letting your equipment come back out after the buildings started to burn? And he didn't want to talk to him after that. He didn't want to talk to him. But the idea to burn the buildings, I'll tell you where it was conceived. Okay?
Can I go to the bathroom before?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
You go
I
cut it
pee
off.
so bad. No, it will still keep rolling. All right, we were at where they got the idea.
Where they got idea, I was right there where he got the idea to burn them buildings. I'm pinning on me. Okay, did you turn the light off here? Or- It just looks darker.
It is dark here.
Okay. One day, after Mr. Jones was gonna start taking the warehouse apart, I was gonna get the wood, and he was gonna just do the tearing apart, and he'd be working for us, and I tell him that I'll bring one of my trailers down here. I had a trailer at Brooks or somewhere I was gonna, where Brooks burnt, I think I had one of my trailers at Brooks Trucking, but I was gonna take one of the trailers, no matter where I had it at, and load up the wood. Well, Mr. Jones was gonna help do that. See,
Mhm.
So he was worried about his equipment getting tore up. He said, I want my equipment tore up. And I relayed a message to him that his equipment would not get tore up. I'd watch it, we'll lock it up in a fence over there. I think there was still fenced at Anderson Auto Parts, a partial fence, I think, for the customers' cars or something. I forgot what it was. But I would watch out for Mr. Jones. The reason he was worried about it, I told Chris Stiles why. I said his truck burned up, and he accused me and Jack Sidejohn of burning his truck. And so
Jones did.
huh?
Jones did?
Well, the city did.
Uh-huh.
They put it in the Jones's head that I did it.
Right. Got it.
They had every bit of evidence to convict me. They said they had my fingerprint, shoe print, soil samples, tire print, and an eyewitness cop. Jury found me innocent because everything was fabricated. Jury laughed about it. They laughed about the tires. They laughed about my shoe print. And they took my shoe print, they determined, when they took my shoes and made a print. They laughed about it. They said they could only find one print, and they stepped in top, with the firemen stepped on top of it. And they said, well, a one-legged man did this. No other print. So they determined the footprint was fake, and my tires had all the rubber ripped off them. So there's, well, what they said was my tires. There was no, the tires did not match at all. Okay, and there was no fingerprint. They just told the judge that, so it signed a warrant. The eyewitness cop broke down. She didn't really see me. They asked her if she see me. She said she see me that night at St. John's Grocery, which I was at St. John's Grocery, but she couldn't remember me. So she didn't remember my beard. I had a long beard. So they told her, and she had forgot that. So all the evidence slipped away, and so they asked the expert how did the truck catch on fire. This lasted 3 or 4 days in court. He said he didn't know. It could have been electrical fire. The reason the city told the Jones boys that I burnt their truck, they thought that Jack John, maybe with my help, went around to people that served papers on people, and picked shotgun blasts through the house and blowed up and burned up their cars. I don't know none of them. Some of them do know Jack John, but I don't know none of them. So they never served no papers on me. They went by Joe Beck's house, I heard, and blowed up his city truck. And so they said, we need to get him. And the reason they tied me with Jack John, they seen my license plate number, working on some equipment for Jack's. They said he's probably helping them.
Beck, is that Beck Real Estate?
Huh?
The Beck you just mentioned, is that Beck Real Estate?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I didn't mention Beck, but I will mention that in a minute. But so they found me innocent. So once I told Chris Stiles I was in court, charged with burning their dump truck, which the expert says he don't know how to call it on fire. It could have been electrical. Well, anyway, I told Chris Stiles that I'd been in court charged with burning his dump truck. Well, so he put that back in his head. So when we fell out, he's taking back all the stuff I worked for. He said, well, I can burn these buildings, and Jim's already been accused of it, even though they found me innocent. So I told him that. So sometimes it's not good to tell somebody that you would, even though the jury found me innocent. The Joneses are a black family, and they had some black people in the jury. They found me innocent. By the way, I worked for the Joneses too. I just got done talking for one today, the last few days. I worked for James Jones's brother's son. That's his uncle. I worked for him. He's black, and I worked for him on and off for several years. And I talked to him yesterday, the day before. So they must trust me to have a man that was accused of burning his uncle's dump truck or cousins, and so the city just wanted to use that to get me. If I was the one that did that, and it could get a conviction, and then maybe it will lead to whoever hurt these people that served papers on people. That's what the case was really about. And so Chris Stiles going like this. Jim's already been in court, even though he's been found innocent, but a fire. Now I fell out, but where he messed up is he didn't burn the Smith Drake warehouse, because the arsonist ain't gonna go to concrete building. He's gonna get that wood with chemicals in it. The chemicals that left here was after he dumped illegally, dumped drums somewhere. There's still enough chemicals in there that would be hazardous. I mean, they stayed there for hours trying to get them out, and so that's where he conceded the idea to get Godfrey and the developer to say Jim's the fireman, the arsonist.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. But Sled made a fool out of himself in this case. They made a fool out of
How's
himself.
that?
Yes, they did. And there's more to the case that I'm saying, but I'm just going to keep that part. It's a soap opera.
And just to make sure that everybody is aware, this is our initial sit down and talk. We're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. There's a lot of investigative stuff that we need to do from now till November, with a lot more interviews to put the entire case together. And like Jim said, this is memory. This is 20 years old. Like this is, we're trying to piece these things together and collect the evidence and go, who did this? Who?
Well, you just mentioned Beck Real Estate. When I seen Beck Real Estate, I know these her assistant. I think they made a mistake in here because I know Beck Real Estate's sister, and she used to have the Gooder and Good restaurant, and I know that house they talking about here. I've been in it several times, and it says right here, Beck Real Estate owner operates an X-rated movie rental house. Her children are often in trouble with our police, and she has property we have intent on buying near the Norfolk 7 Railroad Yard. That's the house I called here the other week about. They wanted $400-something thousand for it, and I talked to Beck. Well, she, at that time, was just handling property. They bought the property next to it, another house, and made an apartment complex, maybe low government house or something, next to it. They tore it down, and she was handling that for her sister. So I think when this paper was printed, they made a mistake. They thought she owned that house where she just handled it. Her sister, I forgot her first name, but her maiden and married name was Duncan or Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And I know her two sons. One drives a motorcycle, and the other one run a video at the old Gooder and Good restaurant. I'm trying to think of his name, Branyan maybe, and I forgot the one that drove the motorcycle. He used to have a shaved head, but they were so nice people. Mm-hmm. They was always nice to me, and I talked to the mama too, and they was real nice. But the city hall probably made a mistake. That property belongs to the sister, because I know that before I seen that paper. I said, somebody's made a mistake. That might be why it says retype and shred. Probably make corrections. But the funny thing is about this whole thing, whoever's listening to this, there's a lot of funny things I got written down here, but we can't tell them all right now. The funny thing is, I asked them, I don't think I've mentioned it unless I'm retelling it. I asked for some paper for them to buy me I needed some pads like this to keep up with what was going on for Mr. Brett. They said, just go in the building, there's documents in the buildings, cases of documents. Just take them, you could write on the back of them. Like this document right here, see? You could write on the back of them. I guess he was really trying to save money. But anyway, so I got some paper out of there, and I made a folder to keep them in. And they had stuff written on them. And I just started reading them. Oh, boy. You won't believe what some of them say. Oh, boy.
Like what?
Deals with other deals they've made about property, about asbestos, cancer costs and stuff, about not giving a report at the appropriate time. There was all types of stuff, personal, like somebody going with some of these lawmen's wives. Probably, I laughed about it. I said, maybe some of them cops that came out to make me leave the property after they told me I could come back, they would pay me and I'd get my stuff. Instead, they tricked me, and they just wanted a record of me being removed from the property where I thought I was coming back to get my money and my property stuff. They just tricked me. But these documents in them boxes belong to me, because they told me everything in that building belongs to me. And so 'Cause some of them are pretty bad, y'all. And you know the sad thing about it is, even though Mr. Brett is the chief uh, man why I'm doing this, him and Chris Stiles, but it'd be a shame for me to, if I find them documents and have to show them to people, these other developers and businessmen would get in trouble, and I don't really want to do that.
I'm
No.
fine with Vivian Wong.
Huh?
Vivian Wong. Are you familiar with Vivian Wong?
Uh, Businesswoman.
Yes, yes. Liar. I mean, my gosh. And I called her on it. I was in her office. I said, "Did you lie to me?" Uh, my wife knows the folks at Hallmark from either West Coast or East Coast, and when we questioned them about their Hallmark meeting, her, and a guy named Bert Hess, over at this World, whatever, wherever Vivian is.
Right.
Uh, Vivian and Bert talked about having a Hallmark meeting, and my wife was like, "Oh, you're gonna meet with the East Coast, West Coast?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." Well, when we left, a producer that I had already worked with walked in the door for the Hallmark meeting. Like, you ain't Hallmark. You're just a producer that may have gotten something distributed on Hallmark. So I asked Vivian, "Did you lie to me? Did you purposefully lie to me?" Because I made an entire folder that said "Man with a Dream" or "Man with a Scheme" about Bert Hess, who is still there saying he's going to make a movie theater or a movie studio there. The guy that he wants to bring in is a dude that made bad building deals with the current mayor of Los Angeles. Like, I'll sell it to you for 400, then you'll
Right.
sell it, that sort of thing.
Right.
And I had all of that in the book, and they got really pissed. And I had to talk to the lawyer and everything like that.
Right.
And I told him where he could stick it. I mean, these people are just disgusting.
Exactly.
And as we wrap up for right now, um,
Let me
it's
tell
your
you,
your town. Are you sad? Are you sad that the top is still the way they were even this many years later after they went after you?
well, I mean, nobody ever apologized to me, and I did solve the case, but the Greenville News stopped putting it in the paper. They used to put in the paper about the fires that happened. They did it at different interviews intervals over the years, and they stopped putting it in there. And I said, well, I guess because they know who did it. But the thing I say to all the developers and anybody, watch what you say on the phone, watch them papers, because I got plenty of them papers and tapes. I got some tapes, but I hate to whip out them documents, not on Tim Brett and Chris Stiles. It's just the people they're dealing with. I hate to see them get in trouble, but about them cancer causing materials that you don't tell people about them chemicals, and like McAllister Square with the School Foundation. I got every paper on McAllister Square. I can tell you when the roof was put on. I can tell you what it cost to do the landscape. I can tell you anything when the man put the locks in the door, what he charged. But when y'all was trying to sell it without putting any money in it, you was trying to be the middleman, Mr. Brett, where you could bring the school to foundation and you together, they'd pay you, and then you pay the people up north to hose the deed to it. But at that time, it didn't work because they wanted the deed on the man. And but you was holding off that cancer report on that fire retardant material, and you was holding it off, and until they made a down payment on there, according to my records, and you was making a down payment. I mean, waiting for them to appropriate a part of the money, and then after they appropriate it, you gonna go then lay that cancer causing report, what it would take to remove that stuff from the building. It had ear monitors in it for cancer causing stuff. It was low levels, or it wasn't enough to worry about, but they would have to be taken out. What's that going to cost? A few $100,000 here, a few $100,000 there. Just what would the whole bill be? But you don't want the school to know that, and after they appropriated the money, then you lowered it on them. If they'd known it to start with, they might have said, let's just build a building, or let's occupy a building it don't have that old asbestos or cancer causing.
Who occupied the building?
McAllister Square used to.
Okay, and then
It was a shopping center with Belks and Morrison's and
who's in it now?
the schools, the children learning to education.
But do you know?
Different colleges.
Oh,
They can go there and take a course, like kind of like Greenville Tech, and so they got the truck driver training course. It used to be part of it back there. I used to be connected with the truck driver training course at Donaldson Center, but they also got trucks behind Publix, and they got a little obstacles course back there. So the state ultimately is involved with that building. But they wanted to hold off that report from what I said until they made that deal about the fire retardant cancer course and stuff. But like I say, I got every paper on that.
this is right beside us.
Huh?
This is right beside us, McAllister Square,
Yeah.
real close.
Well, wait a minute. Well, yeah, it's that way.
Yeah, and Camelot's right
Well,
there. Yeah.
So, but I got all that stuff. So, all I can say is that you got to watch what you say. And Sled told me a lot. You know, once Sled knowed I was not the man they were looking for, they started telling me some stuff, and they was really mad at the fire marshal for leading them down the road. They didn't have nothing good to say about that fire marshal.
Yeah, Jim. The problem that we've got here is this: there's a lot of good people out there that are just being silent, and they gotta not be silent. I mean,
know.
this could happen quick or it could take forever.
Let me say something, of course I'll forget it. See, the notes are all disorganized, so it'd be hard for me to find it. But Larry Godfrey was having trouble with the city. My lawyer told me this, Ed Harbin. He has just died before the first of the year. A few months before the first year, he died. He had one of these papers, and he said that Larry Godfrey got him to be his lawyer because he was having trouble to get what he worked for out of the city when he was retired. Like, you remember, they took some benefits, like Ed Blackburn, that should have been the next chief of police. They screwed him out of his spousal benefits. That means his wife or whatever wouldn't get none, where the county, they had the benefits, insurance and stuff, health insurance. So I thought they did Ed Blackburn wrong. He was a good cop, a good man. He had plenty of experience. He used to be a cop in Virginia, if I ain't mistaken, before he come here. So, but they kicked him in the butt by doing that. Well, they's trying to do something to Larry Godfrey to take something away from him or not give him what they owe him. I forgot what it was they owe him. It might be on the vacations he never took back. I forgot. But once he got this paper, I asked Ed Harbin, I said, what happened to Mr. Godfrey, the fire marshal? He said, it's settled. I said, it's settled that quick? So I talked to him 1 week, and that same month, I said, usually something that's going to roll on for several months. Because I've been in court cases. I mean, I've been in the last years. Well,
so he's still connected.
He used his, I matched that top button.
The middle one.
Okay. What Larry Godfrey did, he used his thing.
Yeah.
To get out, because he knows that he's got one of these. It's got
Larry
Godfrey, so they must have settled his. But there's a tape. There's a tape of the city official talking. Some people say the first ones that these come out, the first ones. This is what I'm told. Somebody that worked in the city office got mad at him. I don't know if it's sexual harassment or what, and they typed up that one that says, Jim Frazier continues to mess up developers' land deeds, enforcement is trying to find reason to put him in detention. Well, they didn't take it too serious. When they heard I got arrested, they didn't like it. And they did something to him in the office they didn't like. I don't know if it was sexual harassment or what. And they put this and got it to me. That's the first ones. They got it to me. And there's a tape, by the way, too. So, y'all better tell the truth.
yeah.
Now, Sled might have the tape. I don't know. We'll just see. But here's a tape. Whether Mr. Osteen's heard it, I don't know. Whether Ed Paxson heard it, I don't know. Whether any of these guys heard it, but I did hear one of the tapes. There's several of them. And it was a mini cassette, and some of them was in my files. Sled turned some of the files over to me, or I think they did. We don't really know. But I called them about getting my personal files from my lawyer.
Yeah.
And I told them that it was some stuff in there that pertained to the city and maybe some tapes. Well, they acted like, I'd have to get them this other way, right?
Yeah, we'll FOIA everything.
Yeah, within a short time after that phone call, I got a call, and they gave me a big giant box of my files, and them tapes and papers was gone. But it don't matter if the Sled you got them. We got copies of them papers that you got and them tapes. So, but thanks for getting me them files, because I got a big case going down in Chicago and one in Greenville with Walmart and Hobson Mills. So really, thank you for me getting where my lawyer was at with that case. And we're
gonna lose that battle. It's gonna keep going up.
But anyway, so I've had a history with the city on some jobs, and at Goodlet's Junkyard with Brooks and with Smith Drake Warehouse and the Randy Pipe. So they know who I am, basically, and
They know who you were. They don't know anything about the Phoenix yet, but they will.
Well, I just
I'm glad you still have fight in you, man. Because some people I've talked to do not have any fight left, and they have.
I'm too. A man told me one time, I'll never forget it. He was mad about something, and he said, "I'm not scared, Jim." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "I'm too old. I've already lived my life."
Yeah.
So I think from what people has told me, black and white, and different. There's another piece. That's why I need to read these notes.
Do you want to hold it, or you want to give it?
Now this one I'm not sure of, and it's hard for me to believe this.
All right, we'll leave it on the cliffhanger then. Something we don't know. Go ahead. All right.
But I heard this involves Knox White. Now it sounds corny, but sometimes this corny stuff is true.
Yeah.
Or stuff that's so unbelievable. I thought there was something strange going on at a rescue mission. Even a man told me that after he told me that, he had a heart attack. But he was telling me some strange things going on, but he never did exactly go into it, And a woman told me, this is a few years ago now. This is not recently, a few years ago, that they was letting prisoners stay down there from the halfway house, and said that Knox White's the one that come up with the idea. That way they could get these homeless people out of Greenville. See, they'd have these prisoners that worked every day, and they would be staying down there, and then these other people that wouldn't have room for them there, they go somewhere else. But that seems far-fetched to me, but hey, it could be true.
Hey,
all you have to do is check and see if any prisoners was in the road. If they lied, they're going to get in trouble.
Yeah,
that was
I
his
don't put
idea. Cause,
anything past Knox.
well, I remember this talking to everybody. That's Chris Stiles, everybody, the one that got with Tim Brett. I talked to everybody. Everybody agrees that the developers did not like the soup kitchen or the rescue mission downtown.
Yeah.
They said, boy, if them two was not there.
Yep. Everything we've talked is still in the way of development. So we still get to see what they're going to do with it.
And also, I noticed here lately they're putting a sidewalk on Willard Street behind the railroad you make a left to go to Willow Street, which
Yeah.
connects to Mayberry, okay, where Brooks's fire happened. But they're putting a sidewalk down there, and all them years the people had to walk on the road,
Yeah.
maybe get hit by a car, and they're putting a big sidewalk. I ain't talking about
Yeah.
a dinky one; it's pretty wide, and for the, I guess, the new crowd, the joggers or the rich people.
Yep.
If you're rich, you're accepted, I guess. But
And what was
why
some
did
of the
they
poorest
put that-
communities?
Why did they put that sidewalk there 50, 60, 70 years ago? Why do they do it now?
Yeah. Uh, I only have bad things to say about that. Like, I mean, it's disgusting to me what they've done. It's disgusting to me that I have video evidence of them saying they're not going to put sidewalks into the black communities, our 13 worst communities. It is so crystal clear who the bad guys are and how bad these guys are. It's just we live in a town that are lots of zombies, lots of
Well,
folks that
the
are just
Side John family
zombies.
told me in front of the grocery store there was a sidewalk, and Jack Side John was parked on it one day. He was going to write him a ticket, and he said, "Why are you writing a ticket?" He said, "Because you parked on the sidewalk or near a sidewalk." I think he was close to it, or maybe the tire was up on it, and he wouldn't block the sidewalk,
Mhm.
you know, but he was on it maybe. He said, "Well, my daddy poured that concrete a long time ago." He said, "Before you could write me a ticket, you need to pay me for concrete." And he won that case. And the city and him locked in battle for decades. And my lawyer, this is just one lawyer, this is not all the paperwork.
Uh-huh.
My lawyer was in the paper and had a ruler, and the paperwork was 4 foot something high.
Oh my
4 foot
gosh.
something, just under 5 foot.
Wow.
And he's just that one lawyer. So the city and him was always locked in the battle, and he's on this list, Jack Sidejohn. And
Yeah.
he beat that ticket, and he had property near the waterworks, and they didn't like it because he had stuff parked in there that looked bad, but he had a fence where you couldn't see it. But the people on the top floors looking down, you don't have to have a roof, so they wanted to get his property too.
Uh-huh.
So they got this thing for property, taking property, and
Yeah, they just take it.
yeah.
Is the Sijon family still in town?
Jack's dead, Mike's dead, George is dead, I think. His descendants, I don't know. I haven't. Jack was the last one I know that died, but he was with me in that 3 or 4 day court case where they said we burnt the Jones boys' truck, and we was found innocent, by the way. And I hated it had to go to court, but it was really about whoever blowed up vehicles or shot through houses that served papers on people is what I was told. But
Oh,
the
cheese
city
and crackers.
people are the most dangerous people I've ever seen. I've never seen nobody is as more dangerous as the developers in the city. I worked for a tough house moving company. It was tough, son. It was the quickest way to get killed at that house moving company. Oh, it was mean people that worked there, but they wasn't as mean as I thought. And I worked for a place that a family that was known pretty tough too, son. They was tough, and you could say their name and everybody knowed it. I worked for that company too, but I thought they was, and I found out that the
City officials
the
and
developers
developers are just disgusting.
backstabbing.
Yeah.
Them people are a bunch of prayer boys I'm talking about. I thought they was, and so these people with the city, if they'll burn a building and that roof is black tar and smoke, that means it goes in the neighborhood. I have breathing problems. I'm better than I used to be, but I know what it is to breathe just cigarette smoke. But black smoke, they would set that neighborhood on fire and burn them roofs that are black tar, and they put up smoke in the neighborhood. You can smell it for days and days, and it gets in the trees, the other houses. They don't care about them people that have to breathe it in the middle of the night.
No, they don't.
But they set that roof on the fire. The developers, Chris Stiles, Tim Brett, or have somebody to do it. good cops would have figured out quick that they did it and put it in the paper, because I proved they did it, by not burning my building and by him moving his equipment, then moving it back. And that proves he did it. And, he just, they dangerous people. They come in the night, you know, they, you know.
To steal.
Yeah, they dangerous. They did try to make a deal with me, the developers. They tried to talk to me, and I had a cop there with a gun, and a security man. We was all together, and they had a front man, but I didn't take their deal. They offered quite a bit of money, and they wanted a bunch of documents and stuff. But they should know that you can't buy that, 'cause there could be copies of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like this, there's so many copies.
Yeah.
And so what good would it be like the tapes of meetings they made? There'd be somebody that makes types, other tapes, and but I didn't make no deal with them. But they did approach me through a security man and what appeared to be a lawman, and with a meeting. He had his gun drawn during the meeting. The lawman did. The other one, he didn't draw it, and there was several people there, and I think I taped the conversation. So, but what I'm saying is that's the only time I talked to him. I didn't, you know, I did most of the talking. They just wanted they said they wanted documents and stuff like that. And I told them what I thought about it, and they talked a little bit, but I talked more than they did, but I didn't make no deal. I didn't take no money. I didn't take no money from them, and I figured that I would be selling out everything I stood for. And I just want to let people know that they never paid me the money they owe me either. For the job, because they took my products that was going to pay me and they sold them, and it comes quite a bit of money for 6 months' work.
Yeah.
You know, the products does, and so.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Jim, in probably the next month, we'll have you back in, and I'm sure there's going to be a heck of a lot more that I can jar your memory with, especially after talking to Ed Paxton and all of that.
Yeah, I need to rewrite it where you can, you know, because I got it all out of sync.
I loved it. I loved it. I really do appreciate it. And folks, we're going to keep documenting the stuff that we find out as we scratch deeper and deeper under the surface of Greenville, South Carolina, and everything that I thought was cool and legit is just completely fake. And Mr. Jim, again, you know, in 2003 they went after you.
Yeah.
They didn't stop you. So I really appreciate you continuing the fight. Have a good night, y'all. We will be back as soon as we get the next interview lined up. All right, thanks, guys. Peace.